A lot of the younger or the older light workers that came in, they're exhausted because they feel like they've been fighting their whole life. You know, they've been in medieval times in this realm of fighting paradigms, trying to like tell other people their side, and they're just exhausted. And they're like, I just give up. I don't want to help people anymore. I just want to be in my peace. The beautiful thing about that is that was the old way we were here to awaken. The new paradigm and the new blueprint that I've been shown many times is you can be in peace. You can be in love. It doesn't have to be this crazy, chaotic battlefield. And maybe that's the message that's meant to come through this year, especially for coming into 2026. Maybe that is the message, because I've been on both sides where I've been exhausted and tired, and it is draining, and it makes you just want to leave this planet. You're like, why am I here? This is really painful. This is really difficult. I remember always saying I never want to come back to Earth. Now I literally love Earth so much. I'm like, I want to stay here. I want to come back. So essentially, what I have downloaded in meditation many times is this 3-step sequel that I can guarantee you, if people try this every day, I can guarantee you their lives are going to turn into ecstasy and bliss. And this isn't like a false prophet of, like, this is your key to happiness. I genuinely mean this, because I really resonate with the exhaustion, the tiredness. Again, I was Googling chronic fatigue for years, trying every herb. I was living such a beautiful life, and I was still exhausted. So I couldn't understand people in these like strong matrix webs who are working these jobs who are just absolutely, utterly drained. So there's 3 things that I was shown, and the first one is a plant ally. So for me, I love connecting to Rose. Rose is literally, in my opinion, the frequency of God. Like, it is the highest divine love I've ever experienced in my life. And it's what taught me love. It's what taught me how to love people. It's what taught me to receive love. It taught me so much. So essentially, if people wake up every morning and they do these 3 things, and it's fun. It's not like, oh, you have to go do an hour workout and that's exhausting. If you get an oil diffuser and you diffuse rose oil in your home, the first thing you do when you wake up, diffuse rose oil, and you start to connect to the spirit of Rose, and she's amplifying your entire home with this bathe of love frequency. They even say that Rose is the same frequency when you pass over to the spirit world or you go back to God. It's the same feeling. Even when I started connecting to rose oil many years ago, I literally felt like there was a bomb in my chest. I was like, am I gonna have a heart attack? Because the amount of love I was feeling was otherworldly. Up until that point, I thought it was just through a romantic relationship like the Disney movies. And then I realized the love was inside of me, and I was like, we've been lied to. And even my surname is Rose. I have a rose on my Ringrose, because I feel like I'm such a rep for Rose. And if people connect to the Rose, diffuse. And then the second thing is I go make ceremonial cacao every morning. Ceremonial cacao is a tree, a plant that is deeply connected to love. And they used to call it food of the gods because it was more valuable than gold. It was more valuable. It was used as currency, as money. But it was basically bursting people's hearts open to love, that they literally thought it was God in food form. And so every morning I make me and my dear sister, or she makes it for me, who I live with, cacao. And I put rose powder, I put all these different things. I can send you a recipe and you can put it down below. But essentially I make that every morning, and I connect to the rose or the cacao, and I start drinking that, going back up to my room, and I blast loving music, whether that's Christian music, which literally bursts my heart open so much. I can even put my playlist down below, like, dear goodness. If you do this, no, I'm being dead serious. If you do this 3-step thing, diffusing rose oil, drinking cacao, and listening to this God-based, heart-based, love-based music, you remember why the hell you're here. And I have witnessed myself, because this is me being brutally honest, the past couple of months have been the hardest months of my life. And doing this ritual, I have literally shifted into a completely parallel reality where I'm in ecstasy and bliss every day. I've never experienced more peace in my life. And I feel I was moved through that timeline to really witness, oh my God, we don't have to do it this way. We do not have to be suffering. We do not have to be in pain, because there can be an addiction to that, right? The more worthy I am, the more I experience this pain, the more it's kind of like this victim consciousness, like deep in your root, that you think that you are more blessed if you're suffering more, like, oh, poor me. And it's not valid anymore in this new planet. It's not helpful for us to feel sorry for ourselves, to patronize ourselves, because on some level we are in that helplessness mentality, which I was in for years. But when you actually say, no, I'm going to love you, I'm going to care for you, I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader, I'm going to be rooting for you, and you do these steps, you're rewiring your whole coding. You're rewiring your whole template. Me connecting to the rose every day, and connecting to the plant ally, and connecting to cacao, and connecting to this music of other people amplifying this feeling, it's literally as if my whole DNA is rewiring. It's rechanging. I'm a completely different human to who I was a month ago. a week ago, yesterday. It is recoding every single fiber of my being. It gets to be simple. It gets to be easy. It doesn't have to be like you putting your hand in your nose and holding an incense stick and chanting and like, on one leg and all this complicated like tasks. It gets to be simple. And so I do that every morning. I also love grounding and connecting. I go to the beach every morning. I know that's not accessible for a lot of people, but if you do that 3-step routine, I can guarantee you your heart will burst open and your blueprint will be revealed. I even see it, like I've always had visions of people who are like truck drivers or working in a warehouse. Like I say, use every opportunity you can to bring God into your life, to bring love into your life. So when I see people driving to work, put beautiful music on, like gospel music truly can awaken your heart. I put that on, have oils diffusing in the car, like breathe, get fresh air in. Just because everyone else is in this icky matrix of like so much like negativity and fear and shame doesn't mean you have to submit to that. Okay. And that's the hardest thing for light workers to do, is to stand out in their light, right? They want to blend in. They want to feel like they are part of the tribe, which is a very organic desire. But if you can truly increment like the divine into every beacon of your life, that is what truly can transform your world and amplify the frequency. Because you truly are here to have a blast. You are here to have joy. And if you haven't up until that point, making peace with that and then asking yourself, do I want to continue this paradigm? Because of a lot of the time it can actually be addiction. And I say that from me, who was addicted to pain. I was addicted to suffering. I was addicted to being the victim. And so that is essentially what this New Earth template is. It's realizing there is two in everything. Every single thing we are doing, we are in contract with. So when I'm connecting with Rose, I'm making a contract with that. When I'm drinking cacao, I'm in a contract with that. I'm in communion, in union with that. And so the old earth is basically one, ego, a disconnection to God or a higher power, higher self, whatever you want to say in your own terms. I just use God because it feels resonant to my soul, but it's whatever people feel. When you start to remember God is alive in every cell of your being, it is alive, it is looking after you, it is loving you. You are in communion with that force every moment of every day. It's not about you anymore. When you're putting on the music, you're doing this with that higher force. When you're going to work, you're doing it with this higher force. You're not alone. And so with what technology is doing is it's pushing us into this left paradigm of feeling more alone, right? All these dating apps, people, relationships are crumbling. People are feeling lonelier than ever. And then the swing of that is community-based, which is what I see the New Earth moving into. But what we're meant to do is meet in the middle, which is actually accessing that we've never been alone. And if there's one thing that I keep hearing whenever I prayed, from the minute I went through my spiritual awakening many years ago, it was, you are never alone. It makes me giggle and laugh, because I will hear my guides, I'll hear my angels, especially when I did psychic readings for years. Their guides and God and divine are bursting out laughing. That it's like comical that this matrix has forgotten so deeply that we think we're alone, that they find it comical, like so comical. They're like, that is ridiculously hilarious. I'm so sorry you believe that paradigm, So when I remembered that and remember that divine essence within me, every single thing I'm doing is in communion with another force. It is in communion with a loving guidance. And that is the understanding that we are two. We are not one. So when I'm speaking to others, there's three in the conversation. You're speaking to one person, it's the divine with us. You were never alone. And carrying that force with you, which is why I recommend doing that 3 little thing for the morning routine, that truly will transform this new template that wants to come online, that wants to come onto the earth, which is people remembering there is a greater force, because that is what has happened to the matrix. It is a web of lies that we have been disconnected from it from the start. And that is what has got us here.
Hey there, Inspired Evolutionary. If you absolutely loved this, well then here's a full conversation with this guest on the Inspired Evolution podcast. Check it out now.